I think when I got up here last week, I was sharing that I was feeling a little tired because the week was so super full. Just go, 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 go from like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the entire weekend. Last Saturday, there was a 9D breathwork journey in the morning, a forgiveness class in the afternoon, and there was just so much going on. Every single moment was accounted for, and there was serious amounts of lack of sleep happening. This weekend was different because there was no forgiveness class this week, and there was no 9D breathwork yesterday morning. And so even though there were errands and things to catch up on that Glenn and I did together, there was also a lot more spaciousness in this weekend. And what that actually allowed me to do was to do some reflecting. And not sort of like consciously reflect, but because there was this spaciousness, this time, this expanse, then it just kind of came up. And one of the things that really, really hit home for me, or that was just so right there in the front of my face, was all the similarities and all the correlations between the different things that I have going on right now, especially with the classes that I'm involved in. So I mentioned that Glenn and I are doing this Atomic Habits class on Monday nights, Quantum Habits, which is using the book Atomic Habits. And then I'm teaching the forgiveness class on Saturdays, and so that's the Book of Forgiving by Desmond Tutu and his daughter Mpo Tutu. And then Glenn and I also just started a year-long program that is all about money and the nervous system, and how we really need to get into the body if we really want to affect any kind of change in our lives. And so as I'm sort of opening up to all the stuff that's been happening, all the stuff that we're involved in, and really, again, just feeling such appreciation and so honored to be able to be sort of the shepherdess, if you will, for the forgiveness class on Saturdays, because there is such profound transformation that is happening in that class, and beyond anything that I expected when that topic sort of first started bubbling up and poking and nudging and saying, hey, let's do a class on this. And so over the last 6 weeks, with this pause that we had yesterday, we have 2 left coming up, it really has been extraordinary to see these shifts and transformations in people as they do the work. Now, one of the things that came up last Saturday, and I talked about it a bit on Sunday, was that I knew, because I was one of those people, that not everybody was going to be current with the practices and with the homework and with the reading. And I wanted everyone to know that that's okay, because the process takes as long as it takes, right? Like, we can't rush it. Like, we can't rush any kind of our spiritual growth or evolution or transformation. It happens as we allow it to happen, right? And so I'm just sitting with this, just feeling so grateful to be part of this process, this experience, and then really recognizing that the transformation, which is one of the 4 pillars on our new values compass here at VTC, the transformation has so much more to do with being than it does with doing. And that came up in this program that we're taking on relaxed money with Kate Northrup. Her whole thing that she talks about is be, do, have. In order to do the things you want to do, to have the things that you want to have, it's not about doing more. You gotta be the type of person. You gotta be who and what you truly are. And then that opens you up to attracting opportunity, experiences, the resources you require to do the stuff you wanna do, the good work in the world, so that you can have an amazing life along with those people around you that are near and dear to you. So I was really, really opening up to transformation and knowing, which is another of the 4 pillars on our values compass. And our 2 statements that go along with those 2 pillars, for transformation, it's we consciously experience the infinite potentiality of our being. And as a reminder, this came from the community, okay? This isn't me sitting here going, I think this is what the community is about. This is wisdom and insight that came from the community when we did our 2 visioning sessions last fall. So transformation, we consciously experience the infinite potentiality of our being, and knowing, we live with the certainty that love is our true nature. Now, for those of you who are interested in quantum physics, this might butt up against a little bit of that, because the whole point of that is to live in the uncertainty and the mystery and the question. What I want to say, though, is in order to live in the uncertainty and the mystery and the question, if you really want to hang out in there, you got to be sure of who and what you are. You know, even if you don't know every single aspect of it, to know, to be able to go out into that unknown and navigate it, you know, with some ease maybe, at least not, you know, trepidation or fear, you gotta be certain of who and what you are. And here at VTC, what came up in our community is that we live with the certainty that love is our true nature. So it always comes back to love. So for me, what was coming up this morning as I was opening up to what wants to be shared today, it really came down to the consciousness of being. And so that's the title of my talk today, the consciousness of being. And when I talked about consciousness last year, shortly after I came back from the affiliated New Thought Network conference at Unity Village, then I was really taken by this one phrase that kept coming up there, which is consciousness is everything. And for me, that totally lands. Like, I love that. It's just so expansive. It's so big. It's so all-encompassing. It's this amazing blanket statement that just says, like, this is all there is. This is the only thing that's happening. That's big C consciousness, okay? And then there's a smaller C consciousness, which is all about awareness. If we don't realize that we're all of that, then that's when hanging out in the mystery, in the question, in the uncertainty can feel terrifying, or at the very least confusing and bewildering, okay? So here, even though we want to maybe hang out and like learn new things and be bigger and have a better life, it doesn't start with do, more. It starts off with, who am I? Like really anchoring ourselves in, this is who and what I am. This is what I know myself to be. And here we talk about love. We talk about living life lovingly. That goes back to Emma Smiley days, like half a century and more, right? So in the book of Forgiving, Desmond Tutu and his daughter Mpo Tutu write, when I develop a mindset of forgiveness rather than a mindset of grievance, I don't just forgive a particular act, I become a more forgiving person. And so for me, this harkens back to James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, where he's asking at the very beginning, what kind of person do you want to be? You know, who do you want to become? And so for us, one of the things that came up way at the beginning of the course was, are we the kind of people that eat dinner at the dinner table? Like, it was such a simple thing, right? Like, to not sit down in front of the TV on the couch with just, you know, like our bowls and plates in our laps, whatever, and paying more attention and relating more to the TV rather than to each other or to the food that we were eating. And so it was such a small thing, but it was a conscious choice that informed every single other choice that came after that. And so since then, for the past month and a half, Glenn and I have been eating dinner at the dinner table, or yesterday on the patio, because it was so nice that we got to sit outside. And it means that we get to connect more with each other. We get to connect more with the food that we have prepared, because we do cook our own food, the food that we have prepared, and allow ourselves to be nourished more fully with the love that is showing up, you know, as the food, as the conversation that we're having, as the beings that are relating to each other. And that feels so good, right? Now, it also goes to what the Tutus are saying here, which is about embracing and practicing being a forgiving person rather than just, I forgive this thing that happened. It's becoming more aligned with our true nature. So when I develop a mindset of forgiveness rather than a mindset of grievance, I don't just forgive a particular act, I become a more forgiving person. With a grievance mindset, I look at the world and see everything that is wrong. When I have a forgiveness mindset, I start to see the world not through grievance, but through gratitude. In other words, I look at the world and start to see what is right. When you look at things differently, things begin to look different. Not because they've changed, Because you've changed, right? And it's not even so much that you've changed inherently who you are, you're making a conscious choice to show up as more of who and what you are. And because you make that conscious choice, then you start to see the love and light and beauty and harmony and infinite potentiality in everyone and everything around you. And that's pretty cool. They don't necessarily change their behavior, what they're saying, what they're doing, experiences, politics, the wars, whatever. It's not necessarily the thing, the circumstance that's changing. It's you and how you respond to it and how you view it, and maybe the lenses that you're discarding or at the very least cleaning so that you can look at the world through clearer eyes and vision, right? Consistent spirit-led choices and actions, Consistent spirit-led choices and actions appreciate and expand in every aspect of life. Home, relationships, health, wealth, creative expression, and how we serve. Every single moment we are at opportunity. Every single moment we are choosing. A lot of times we're choosing unconsciously, but we can choose more consciously because every single moment we are at a crossroads. We get to choose to show up as the love, as the infinite creativity, as the boundless, limitless imagination that we truly are, and live life as that. Or we get to choose to not pay attention to that and pay more attention to what's going on around us, to what someone's saying about us, to the expectations, to the roles, to the labels, to the experiences that we've had in the past that are so familiar that we just sort of keep regurgitating the same experience again and again, maybe in a slightly different way. Every moment we are choosing. So it's up to us to choose more consciously. Back to the forgiving book. When I cultivate forgiveness in my small everyday encounters, I'm preparing for the time when a much larger act of forgiveness will be asked of me. To me, this is such an incredible reminder and call to action to be committed and consistent with our spiritual practice, with our personal growth, with the transformation that is always, always available every single moment for us to experience if only we let it, right? And so it's an ongoing thing. Just like I've talked about, you don't brush your teeth, once at the beginning of your life, find out you have no cavities, and then you never brush your teeth again. No, you brush your teeth on a regular basis, hopefully, and floss. You don't go to the gym, work out for, 8 hours one day, and then I'm good for the rest of my life. You do it several times a week on a regular basis. Same thing with our commitment to our transformation and to the knowing that love is our true nature. We got to do the work. We have to practice, practice, practice so that we can more easily show up as the love that we truly are for ourselves, our community, and our world. Back to the book of forgiving again. We change the world when we choose to create a world of forgiveness in our own hearts and minds. So again, it's not about trying to make that stuff outside of us happen. It's not trying, or change. It's not trying to do more stuff. It is about remembering who and what we are and being that, showing up as that. And as we do, then what ends up happening? What Gail was talking about in the restaurant when she and John were sitting there and they were just knowing, happiness, peace, smiling for the people that were sitting next to them. And then those people, because this was such a powerful vibration and such an affirmative prayer, it could only show up in their consciousness, which then reflected in their life experience as them enjoying dinner, hanging out, a little more, enjoyably and smiling, right? And all before the first course was served, right? Well done. So transformation starts with a conscious choice. And knowing is ongoing practice. So the more consciously we live in alignment with divine circulation, the more consistently we experience the sacred flow of giving and receiving. This is something I wrote in the newsletter yesterday. The more we live with the certainty that love is our true nature, the more we experience that love as joy, prosperity, resilience, peace, so much more. harmony, beauty, friendship, community, expansion, learning, fun, playfulness, everything that feels good and life-affirming, that makes our hearts swell, all of that and more. And it's always available to us every single moment of every single day. We just got to consciously choose that. And the more consciously we do it, the more committed that we are, the easier it gets for that to be our default. So to end, this be, do, have thing that Kate Northrup talks, or James Clear asks, what kind of person do you want to become? Or the Tutus talk about embracing and practicing forgiveness as the type of person, because that's inherent, part of our nature. This is about consciously expressing more of who and what we truly are, so that we can do more of what we want, are meant to, and are fully capable of doing, so that we can fulfill our life's purpose. Cultivate and experience more joy, prosperity, resilience, peace, harmony, beauty, artistry, love, friendship, community, whatever it is that floats your boat, whatever it is that makes your heart sing, all of that. For me, my why, my purpose, the thing that guides everything, is empowering the conscious awakening of humanity so that together we can cultivate a global community founded in love. Right? Super aligned with VTC. Probably why I'm here on this stage right now. But that's it for me. Like, there are times when I sort of, forget and veer off. But every time I come back to that, a global community founded in love. And so I invite you to open up. If you're not sure what your purpose is, if you're not sure what it is that you're here for, because, man, the world really is your proverbial oyster, I invite you to open up and discover what that is. Because there are gifts, there are opportunities, there are things and experiences that are moving and grooving their way in, through, and as you, in only ways that they can do so, in, through, and as you. Each and every one of us here is a unique, original, unrepeatable, individualized expression of that divine energetic flow that is forever in and at play. Call it love, call it energy, call it God, call it consciousness, whatever it is that works for you, you are that. And every moment you get to choose being more of that for yourself, for each other, and for our world. Thank you, and so it is.